So we have 19 criminal judges, actually 16 criminal judges here in Metro. And each judge will refer cases over at sentencing, prior to sentencing, post-plea. And they will not be sentenced at that point. They come into our court, and we have 4 phases. Each phase is highly structured, a minimum of 3 months each phase. The first phase, the point of it is to really try to get on track, to get sober, to basically just get through the day without drinking. That's going to be the focus of the first 90 days, is just to stabilize. And then after the next phase, we start working a little more on treatment. Then we start the third phase, start working on planning aftercare and moving forward, meeting educational goals. And then transitional care is the last phase. They'll check in less frequently, but are still required to test regularly, twice a week, for alcohol. And some of their counseling is cut down. So it's gradually stepping down their requirements to see if they can use the tools they've learned in the program to move forward in their life.
A participant is eligible for phasing up when they've reached a certain amount of points. So in phase 1, when they get to 70 points, but it's not just the points, they also have to accomplish some other tasks. So in the contract, in their phase contract, when they come in, they sign that document that says, you're going to have to do 8 meditation groups. You're going to have to do a talking circle. You're going to have to do 1 rite of passage. And with those things, and doing your urine tests, and then doing your treatment, getting your 70 points, we're going to phase you into phase 2.
So there are challenges for participants while in the program. Phase 1, the challenge would be just the amount of change in the participant's life. In phase 1, there's lots of treatment, lots of groups, lots of meetings that the participant must attend, as well as maintaining their sobriety. For a lot of our participants, they haven't been sober, some of them really at all their whole adult life. So I think the biggest challenge in phase 1 would be maintaining their sobriety. So often I do have participants in the first phase who will come to an office visit with me and tell me, I just can't do this. This is too much. It's too hard. I just can't do this. So I'll tend to encourage them. You can do this, and what are you having problems with? I'll try to help them with whatever the struggle is. Transportation, fitting it into their work schedule, their family schedule, and really just encouraging them and just trying to help them get through, especially that initial phase of the program, which does tend to be the most difficult.
Eventually, as you do good in the program, you start to then it gets easier and easier and easier. But at the beginning stages, it's in your face. You got to get this done. To me, it felt stressful, but I didn't fight it. I just rolled with it. And that was probably the best thing I ever done.
In phase 2, I believe that one of the big challenges is just maintaining the schedule, maintaining the way that they're doing things in the program. Phase 3, some things within treatment and reporting tend to decrease. So for some of the participants, that could be a challenge just because that has been a part of their schedule. Having to come in on a weekly basis may kind of really just throw their whole schedule and their whole view of things. In phase 4, a challenge can be fear. Some of the participants in phase 4 will have a fear of, what's going to happen when I graduate? How am I going to stay sober without a PO on my back or the program supporting me? So I think self-sabotage can happen in phase 4 as well. There'll be people or participants who will drink to get caught will drink to get caught, so they don't have to leave the program. Some people will prolong the requirements so they can stay in the program longer. When that happens, I will tend to let them know, we're always going to be here to support you. You can do this. Maintain your relationship with your sponsor. Maintain your support group. You did the work. The participants have done the work, not us as probation officers or anybody on the program, on the Healing to Wellness team. The participants are the ones who do the work.
One of the challenges in applying the phase system requirement to graduation is that some phases inherently take longer than others, and they're more intense. The first phase tends to be the most intense in terms of supervision. The second phase and the third phase, and then the transitional care phase, tend to not be as supervision intense. But sometimes, because the phases are based on points, people tend to accumulate points faster than the amount of time they spend in the phase. So they could accumulate all the points for phase 2, but they may have only been in phase 2 for a month. They're going to need more care than just the point system, and then being able to move on to the third phase. And so I think that's one of the challenges with the phase system in terms of trying to reach graduation. Generally, participants can take anywhere from a year to 2 years to finish the recovery program or the Healing to Wellness program. However, they may be in phase 3 longer than they are in phase 2. They may be in transitional care longer than they are in phase 3 or phase 2 or phase 1. And so I think the problem with the phases is that they're not necessarily indicative of where the person is in their recovery and in the program.
The amount of reporting they have to do to probation, drug testing, counseling, all of the parts of the program just build structure for them. So when they need to get a job or go to school, then they already are used to a structure. So that helps them to continue that. And that's one of the things we've heard in some of our exit interviews from our participants, is that they like the structure, that it was hard for them to get used to at the beginning, but the structure is what kept them going. And we try to encourage them and say, it's one foot in front of the other, and before you know it, some of these participants, they really take to the structure, and I think that's what everybody wants and needs, is structure. And so we're trying to build that structure for them so that they can adapt to everyday life and getting back to work and school and making some progress and being successful in their lives.